Welcome to the Property Business Podcast. Once again, I am joined by James and Jonathan, and this week we have a special guest. Jeroen, how are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Hopefully I pronounced your name correct, did I?
Hole in one, yeah.
Yeah.
Not many people do. 10 marks for you. Well done.
Right, we're going to get onto your story in a moment, but James, Jonathan, all good with you?
Yeah,
All
really
good.
good. Yep,
You
great
go,
weekend. No, so a really nice weekend. Went to Twickenham to watch Harlequins, which was really fun. And yeah, just start of another really busy and exciting week.
I'm good. I'm off to Mexico next week. So after working my socks off of EXP for about 2 years, I need a break. So off to Mexico for two weeks. I went down to meet Wilma this morning. One of the EXP agents who's going to be looking after my business. Camilla is handling one of the listings, and then Wilma's going to be handling, I think, 3 or 4 listings. So the business will continue whilst I'm drinking mojitos in Mexico.
I love Mexico. Whereabouts are you going?
5 days in Mexico City, and then Tulum just to chill and relax and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, Tulum's awesome. You'll enjoy that. Right, onto the podcast, onto business. Jeroen, tell us a little bit about yourself, your history in real estate. Go ahead.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while. So I've been in property for 20 years. Over 20 years now. I started in 2003 as a junior negotiator at a Ludlow Thompson branch that had just opened in Acton in West London. That was my first job. Really enjoyed the whole selling houses thing. Was fresh out of uni, full of enthusiasm, sold a lot, did a lot, got promoted pretty quickly. And then I started getting tempted by the wild side. So I actually got poached by another agent to join them for more money, which was good for about a month. And then I realized, wow, this is a big corporate. I have an employee number and I don't mean anything to anyone. So I didn't really like that at all. The money was a little bit, but truth be told, it just wasn't me. So I actually got a call from someone who was at Ludlow Thompson. This is when they saw my CV online. They said, oh, you know what? So-and-so got promotion. They're now running the Oval office. And he needs bums on seats because he needs some new staff. He's fired everyone because they're useless. You're really good. You'd be really good at lettings. I said, really? I've never rented a flat before. What if I suck at it? If you suck, we'll give you your old job back and we'll give you more money. Just come back, please. So I came back. I smashed the ball out of the park for 3 months running. And the guy took me aside and was like, I think I know which way this is going. You're probably going to get a call from David Thompson soon. And I said, really? Why is that? He's like, well, you're doing some pretty impressive. I think he's going to give you your own office. Just a heads up. So I rejoined them in lettings in April 2005. And by August 2005, I was then a lettings manager. We didn't even have a physical premises at the time, so I was driving up and down from Dulwich to Lewisham and all the rest of it, because Lewisham was the office that they gave me, but they didn't even have an office. That only came a year later. But did pretty well. Did some amazing figures, manager of the year, all that sort of jazz. Had some really good staff working for me, actually. So, yeah, did good figures. So the next natural step would be to get promoted to a partner or a director or whatever it was. And that started to happen. You know, people were there for a good amount of time. You know, by this time we're talking 2008, 2009, you know, I've been there for a good 6 years or so, which is pretty long in the state agency, especially back then. And I got overlooked for a promotion a couple of times. I was like, this is no good. And then by 2009, obviously we've had the Lehman Brothers go bust and all the rest of it. So I was once the apple in their eye, and then suddenly the figures weren't so good. I'm like, hey, you know, recession and all that. So they moved me around a couple of offices, tried a couple of things. Didn't work, you know. Turns out I wasn't the problem. It was more the market. So anyway, I left them thinking, all right, this is a no-brainer because they don't know what they're doing. Obviously, they don't see the downturn in the market and focus on other things. So I set up with a business partner, and we literally rented 2 desks in a serviced office and started calling Gumtree landlords. And from there, we created a business. We did £100,000 turnover in year one, 200,000 in year two. We upgraded to a better serviced office. And then by like year three, we had our own physical premises in the high street. Started taking on more staff, and before you know it, you've got a team of like 8 negotiators running around doing sales and rentals. And high street agency, right? So you kind of think, okay, what's next? And my business partner wanted to work a little bit closer to home. I was kind of falling out of love with it because when you're the owner, you don't get really stuck in and you lose all the things that you like doing, like viewings, valuations, tying up deals. There was a lettings manager and a sales manager, and you kind of, grow the business. It's not really something I enjoyed because I liked being an estate agent, and actually building an estate agency. You don't do any estate agency work. I might as well be selling, I don't know, radiators or something, or printers. It doesn't matter. You're not really doing the job. So I sold it up to someone else who then got later acquired, and I did property investment stuff. So bought flats on the cheap, raised money, refurbished them, refinanced, all that sort of stuff. So having advised people for years and years on buy-to-let stuff and good investments and what works and what's a great yield, well, I put my money where my mouth is and just did it myself because it's quite easy. And then you start going to these networking events and people are like, wow, that's awesome. Like, how do you know all this? I'm like, kind of obvious, like what a good yield is, right? You buy something cheap and you do it up and then suddenly it's fantastic. It's not rocket science. And having done it for people, hundreds of times before, you just point and go, well, that one's good. Buy that, do it up, and I'll rent it for you. And that's worked 100 times before. So why wouldn't it work when I do it? So I did that. That went well. Went really well for a couple of years. Then my personal life took a bit of a tumble. Got divorced, and I know there's married people here, so stay married. It's much cheaper. I can guarantee you that much. If you thought the wedding was expensive, you try divorce, my friend. So that led me to a pretty dark path actually, because I thought, well, what am I going to do with my life? So I spent a lot of time in the gym, and people were like, well, you should get paid for being here. You're part of the furniture anyway. So I'm like, okay, well, fair enough. So I did one of those online degree things. So I started doing a bit of personal training whilst I still had some property investments, some money in crypto and all that sort of thing. Give myself some time to figure out what I should really be doing. And obviously I'm still doing, this is another thing that I do, networking events. So I do networking events for property people south of the river. I have done since 2016. And everyone always enjoys a good event with me because I managed to bring lots of people together from all walks of life, but we all have one thing in common. It's property and property investment. So I kept doing all those things, and then Jonathan and James reached out to me, and they're like, this EXP, this self-employed agency, you should get onto this, man. And I'm like, really? Why would I want to do that? I can just, do the workout and this, that, and the other. And then, things changed financially. And I thought, lifting weights does not really pay a lot of bills. So how can I make as much money in as little time using existing expertise that I already have? And the answer was, of course, to come back to a estate agency. So my intro to EXP was born, and the rest is kind of history. James and Jonathan have been at this for a couple of years longer than me, but they both come from very respected agents, just like myself. So I'm thinking, well, look, if they can do it, we've got roughly the same CV. I'll give this a go, no problem. And before you know it, instructions lead to viewings, lead to offers, lead to sales, right? It's as simple as that.
How long have you been with EXP for now then?
So my cap resets on June the 1st. So It's been nearly a year.
And when you first started, I know just before we came on, you talked about how you did a lot of lettings and now you're doing more sales. What was your plan of action, and how did you go about effectively starting a new business again and going back into residential real estate and selling homes?
Well, the major bonus that I had was that I leveraged my contacts. Your network is your net worth. guaranteed. So, you've got your phone with your contacts, and those contacts are worth money. So I let everyone know that I was back in business in a state agency,
And how did you
in
do that?
property.
Did you send them a text? Did you give them a call? Did you just do it on social media and put one post out and expect everyone in the world to know that you're in this line of work? Like how did you do it?
Well, any good marketeer will have you believe that one post is all it takes. But truth be told, I've got a marketing degree, and basically I can sum up 3 years of university by saying this: 50% of marketing works. You just don't know which 50%, so you have to do everything. So it's all of the above: WhatsApp, text messages, phone calls, social media, and be religious about it. You can't just tell people once, because you'll get lost. The world's a busy place, and people have a lot of noise. So you need to stand out through that crowd, and you need to find your audience. You need to keep drumming the same beat, singing from the same hymn sheet, whatever you want to call it, day in, day out, and you will find your audience, and your audience will come to you, and they will buy from you, they'll buy into you, they'll know, like, and trust you. But that doesn't happen after one letter or one WhatsApp or one conversation. That comes from continued contact. So if anything, it's all of the above, and keep doing it. And once you're done with that, do it again.
I think your WhatsApp messages, you mean, I think when you find the magic letters, which to be fair, you've done absolutely amazing with the magic letters religiously. Games. At one point you said these aren't working, you're going to stop, but then 2 weeks later you're like, guys, this is working. I've got instructions, I've got valuation, I've got sales. So as with all things, it's like the highs and lows of kind of starting any business, but you are a prime example of just kind of follow the process, social media religiously, and it's been amazing to watch your social media journey evolve, where we all kind of start picking up the phone and be like, what the hell are we doing? And now you're doing your own videos and you're doing your own character in the videos. So it's awesome to see that this is very much a EXP give you the business, but it's down to you how you want to be as an agent. And you are, I guess, yeah, being your own kind of character. What else is working for you? So obviously some of the kind of reasons you've got instruction, and right, very much. So you got see the back of magic. All of you now.
The line broke up a bit there. You said, what else is working for you?
Sorry?
Yeah, you started sounding like a robot, James.
Oh,
Yeah.
even more so. I kind of said that. You've got a lead in fantasy at 2.6 million, and got a lead in.
Magic letters. Yeah, absolutely. I think the saving grace for me is that I do find a synergy between the sellers of expensive houses, because they tend to listen a lot more to what you have to say. And when people listen, you're able to sell them on the benefits of what you have to offer. And with a CV of, I've been doing this for 20 years, I wouldn't still be doing it if I wasn't any good. That rings true. People with a £2 million property, they're generally a little bit older. They're not just 25-year-olds that have just won the lottery, generally speaking. They appreciate, because they're probably in the same boat, that they've been in their industry for 20 years. So they're probably at the same level of experience, albeit in a completely different sector. So they're hearing stuff out of my mouth that they're not hearing from the average sales manager from a high street outfit, because the average sales manager of a high street outfit is probably 10 years younger than me and probably been doing it for 10 years less long.
I think there's also
In
the added
regards to
thing
the,
of. So go ahead,
sorry, go on,
James.
Jonathan.
I was going to say, I think the other point as well is that when they meet you, bearing in mind they're going to obviously have that conversation on the sofa, and you're going to talk them through, or maybe over the phone before that call of going. Again, that jumps into your ability to be able to convert from a call from a manager, that magic letter. But I think, the first and last time that most people see their sales manager is when they come through on the appraisal. That's it. They're not doing any viewings at all. And they'll see you constantly, turning up, giving your expertise and your experience, and helping to actually sell the listing, as opposed to just getting the listing and then throwing it in the pile with the rest of them.
Agreed. Yeah,
'Cause
totally agreed.
yeah,
And
I mean,
that is one of my, my USPs when I go out on evaluation. It's me and me only.
yeah,
And if you like me, great, you're going to see more of me. If you don't like me, I'm very sorry, but then it's not going to work, is it?
yeah,
This is the way I work. This is what I've got to offer. My whole network, my marketing, the videography, my social media, the fact that I've been in property for 20 years, I know how to best place a property at £500,000 or £5 million, and it's a different kettle of fish. If you want to just be on Rightmove and Zoopla, go to OpenRent, and do it yourself. But the reason that you are considering an agent is because you appreciate that, estate agency takes a skill. You don't have that skill, so you're looking for the most skilled person to sell or rent your most valuable asset. Who do you think is best placed to do that? And I had a call today with a vendor who I went to see. This was the one that you just mentioned, James, at £2.6 million. She was on with a high street agent, and I said to her, I don't think that's the best place for it, Rightmove and Zoopla. I think this property is more catered to foreign buyers. She was from Zimbabwe. Her husband was Dutch. I said, how about your neighbors? Where are they from? Because it was a Muse development, 4 houses. Oh, yeah. Well, he's Argentinian. She's French. He's from Paraguay, and the other one's from Hong Kong. I said, well, that proves my point, doesn't it? It's foreign buyers. They probably don't even know what Rightmove is if they're coming from overseas. Granted, if you're in the UK and you've searched for a property yourself, you will know what Rightmove is. But in all likeliness, if you're looking for an overseas buyer, you've got to go through overseas channels, and Rightmove is not that.
That's a really interesting point. In regards to going back to your letters, I think some people will just do one letter, send it out, I don't know, to maybe all the current, for sale properties. Who are you sending the letters to? How often are you sending them? Talk us about your letter process.
The letter process is wonderful. So, Jonathan poo-pooed this, but I get special stamps.
I actually did.
Really
Where I was saying was where the legitimacy of where they were coming from. However,
they're very legitimate. I got them off Alibaba.
yeah.
No, you've heard about the apparently the Chinese are flooding the UK market with fake stamps, but these are not fake. These are authentic. They just come from, less expensive sources, shall we say. But they're fully legitimate, and it's all above board. But I write letters to people that are on the market, that have reduced their price, or that have been sticking on the market. Now, I don't think that the only option for people to sell is to reduce the price. So my key in when I get a phone call is not just, oh, you're overpriced, bring down the price and you'll sell it, because anyone can do that. So when I finally get one of these calls, but first answer your question, I write to people that are on the market for at least 6 weeks, that have been reduced, or they've been on for longer than 12 weeks. And there's a stage of letters in between. And I purposely leave them quite vague. I just say, give me a call. That's all I need. I don't need a long list of who I am and my CV and all that sort of thing, because I think, oh, here we go. It's another estate agent. I don't need another estate agent. I've already got one. That's fantastic. If they're happy with their estate agent, they should stay with their estate agent. But the crux of it is when the phone rings, I say, how are you doing? I'm doing great. Okay. Have you got viewings? Yes, got loads of viewings. Have you got offers? No offers. Why do you think that is? And that opens up a whole conversation, doesn't it? I put the conversation on them. I let them tell me what's wrong. Oh, we had a buyer, but he pulled out. Oh, they didn't like the color of the carpet. Oh, they keep seeing other properties in the development and they buy another one. And sometimes people will be very receptive and sometimes people won't. That's just the nature of sales. But once you're in the house or in the flat, then you can talk further. And because I've done property development before, I know what works well. I know what buyers want to see. And this is a great example. Chelsea Bridge Wharf. We all know Chelsea Bridge Wharf. It's a lovely new build development overlooking the Thames. And I went to see a customer there. He had his property on for a good, I think it must have been 14 months by this stage. And he was fed up. And I said, tell me more. And it was exactly this. He was with an agent that had 5 in the developments. They showed them around all 5. And then, if they bought, they always bought another one. They didn't buy his, or they didn't even offer on his. And I said to him, why do you think that is? He said, I have no idea. So I showed him the pictures of all the other ones. The other ones were immaculately presented. They had wooden flooring. They were brightly lit, all the rest of it. He had fitted carpets throughout, which were dark green from memory. His terrace, his wooden decking on the terrace or balcony, whatever you want to call it, was rotting, and his bathroom smelt of damp. I said, you're asking for 1.2 million or thereabouts. What do you think a buyer will think? He's like, well, I don't know, I'm not a buyer. I said, well, the fact that people are just buying the ones with wooden flooring, and I can't vouch for the smell of the bathroom, but they're immaculately presented, all of them. Let's just assume that the bathroom doesn't smell of damp. Would that not be a clue as to why they're buying other property and not yours? Because yours is actually facing a nicer direction as well, in my opinion. Opinions vary, of course. And he just didn't see it. He didn't see it. But this is my home. I want fitted carpets. I said, yeah, it's your home. You want fitted carpets. That's great. But if you're driving a car and you like your car dirty because it's a 4x4 and you like to feel like you've just driven through a road rally, great. But if you come to sell it, once it ends up in the showroom, I'm sure the car salesman's going to clean it. And we need to apply the same principle here. But he didn't see it. So he's still on the market today. So you win some and you lose some. I think presentation is key as well as pricing.
It's interesting you bring that up, because in the US, staging is a massive thing, and then also spending a decent budget on getting your home ready. One of my previous companies that I used to work with, in the end, the policy basically almost made them bankrupt. It didn't work in the end. But what they did is they actually gave a loan to the to the seller for them to be able to do up their home. So that they could get it in prime condition to do it. The problem with that was that then the market basically stalled, and all these people borrowed money to sell their home and then couldn't sell their home. So that was an issue. But the idea was very good. Get your home in prime condition for it to sell. I would always go into a home and exactly what you just said. If someone had green carpets or if someone had multicolored walls, I was like, we need to just go through your house and do a light grey throughout your home, and then let's put in nice new wooden floor. And it might cost them $5,000 or something, to do up their home. But the whole point is if you spend that 5,000, you might get an extra 50,000. And the problem is, sorry, go ahead, James.
I was going to ask, so what was your Kennington Road example, Jeroen? Because that's a prime example of that, where it was on with another agent, hadn't sold, you actually advised on dressing it, then you achieved a much bigger price. What was the example?
That was a penthouse in Kennington, and exactly that. He had it on the market with a big high street chain the year before. I wrote him a letter. He called me up and he said, what would you do? And it was vacant. It was an ex-rental. And actually, at the time that I went to see it, it was rented out. But yeah, tenants were tidy enough, but it was just a bit bland. Rental, boring, white. So I actually got one of my interior designer ladies to give him a call. And by that point, the tenants moved out and it was really bare. Anyway, she came in. Right, we're going to do a feature wall here. We're going to put some furniture here. We're going to make it look nice, spring clean, a couple of flowers, some greenery, sprinkle some plants and, bake some bread and then set some coffee. And I had an open day and it went. I had like 10 people offering
and that
and got
awesome.
well over.
And that to you at a 750k flat, that's a circa 15k fee in your pocket from, I don't want to say one magic letter because you sent out a lot, but then that's a great return on investment. Do you have, how many other examples like that do you have? How many of your listings have been from letters that you've successfully sold?
Well, I've got one at the moment that was on the market for 6 months with 4 agents, lo and behold, and none of them had the audacity to tell the man that, it looks like his grandmother died under the carpet and she's still there because it just looked hideous. And you know me, I would have used those exact words without hesitation. And people appreciate the honesty. I'm the only man in real estate that will just go there and say, no, it's not sold because it looks
Mhm.
rubbish. You're asking too much money for what you're offering. So we've got two solutions. One is the really easy one, which is just drop the price by £250,000, at which his jaw hit the floor. And I said, or we're going to do this. We're going to spend about 20 or 30,000 pounds fixing all the things that buyers expect to be fixed anyway, because no one wants to walk into a house and have a load of jobs to do, unless it's a complete wreck, of course.
And they
That's the
also don't
exception.
know how expensive it's going to be. That's the issue. People go in and see, I don't know, it might just need carpet and a lick of paint, but in their head, the place needs completely gutting and it's going to cost them
Exactly
100k.
that.
It might cost them 5 to 10
Yeah.
grand, but people don't understand that.
Well, they don't have the time to do it.
People don't understand that, and people don't have the time, inclination, or willpower to deal with builders, because it's not just builder, here you go, here's a list of jobs, go do it. It's, oh, I need to find a builder. Oh, then he needs to quote. Then he needs to come back. And is he reliable? Is he going to go bust halfway through the job? I'm a property developer. I've got teams on hand that can do this. So I went round, I made a big list of things. And I said, look, this is what we need to do. Let me get the guy to quote. And it was a 20 or 30,000 pounds, whatever it was. And the house was immaculate. Lovely video, all the rest of it. And within 4 weeks, I had 3 offers on the table.
Nice.
Job done. He was on the market for 6 months before, didn't have anything. Nothing.
Then in regards to your
Great
social
result.
media, what success have you had from your social media so far?
I think that is very difficult to measure. Unless you are selling, I don't know, pairs of socks or some kind of FMCG good, anything on social media is impossible to measure because there's always people looking at you. But one thing that I can say is that we're in an attention economy. So if people are looking at me or James or Jonathan, they're not looking at a high street agent, because high street agents are not on social media. High street agents, they just list properties on Rightmove and Zoopla, and they hope for the best. With us, people are following our daily ins and outs, what we do. It's a day in the life of. It's, what do we do before the valuation? What do we do after the valuation? How do we prepare for viewing? All those other bits that no one ever sees. And it's kind of like a little camera on our shoulder, and people can watch along. And people love that. People buy into that. And that's why I think James has such great success from his social media, because people have been following his stories for the last 2 or 3 years. With me, it's just starting to build. And I can see that the number of viewers on my stories and my reach and my posts is going up and all that sort of thing. But can I measure that in tangible instructions? No, I can't measure that.
I think I used to measure it by the amount of people that would just say to me when I bumped into them, "Oh, I've seen your Instagram. I saw that home you sold the other day." So whilst, as you say, whilst it might not be someone sending you a message, "Can you sell my house?"
Yeah.
If you get comments and you know people are watching it, then what will happen is eventually that will happen. Someone will say, but you won't know it's from social media because it will just organically come through a message at that point because you might have built that relationship with them. And then also what you'll find is people will try and look you up. So even though that magic letter you might have thought it's from the magic letter, they will look you up on the internet. They'll find your social media. They'll contact you, and you'll think it's all through the letter. But that added extra of the social media is the reason why they call.
It adds the credibility as well. That's the thing with the
That's back to what I was saying before about everything working. You just don't know what's working, and you need to keep doing everything.
I was say the point when when that letter drops, someone's going to Google your name. When they Google your name and they see your videos and they see your LinkedIn and they see your Instagram, and then also hopefully they see your good Google reviews as well, which all of us are starting to build up. I've just managed to get my 50th one, which I'm really pleased about, and that just gives instant credibility to you. And you've got other things as well. You've got a blog, haven't you, which you used to do years ago, which has got some great content on it. And I think all of those things just continually, and they're always there as well, aren't they? That's the thing. It's you might have done a post 6 months ago, but that could just come up on someone's feed at some point. You just never know. if you get an extra like on it or whatever. And people call you from. I got a call only a couple of weeks ago from someone that had watched a video I did 2.5 years ago, which was on YouTube, and they just Googled Lambeth licensing, and I did a video on when Lambeth licensing came out, and it's on YouTube. Someone Googled that, watched it, and called me up and said, "How can you give me a bit of advice on this licensing thing?" Because I've got 2 or 3 properties that I'm renting out and wanted some advice. Now, that's because that video was there. But I think you do an amazing job with doing consistently. I think is what you're good at, is you're consistently good at doing all the small things all the time.
And then you mentioned that your cap is resetting in June. I didn't cap in my first year. It's pretty hard. I know that Daniel Archer and the John capped in his first year. I think there was one text you sent me about 4 weekends ago where you're hoping to tie up like 3 houses that was about 63k in fees. Are you hoping to cap in the first year?
I'm not going to make it at this rate. Things might change, but I'm definitely. Definitely is a big word.
The thing is it's capping in first. Like it will happen for very, very few people, and for those people that can come in with a huge amount of local connection, possibly, or a big, massive black book of on the markets. Maybe they know people in agency. Not to say that to take away from anyone that manages to do it, but when you're in a very highly competitive marketplace, it takes a year of graft. But it's that build up, because when you reset in June, which is another month. What's your current pipeline you're in at the moment?
Currently I've got about 60 grand.
So again, if you tie up another couple more between then and then, you'd be going in from what was a standing start with cap in your pipeline. And if that turns around in best part of 3 to 4 months, then it's year 2. I mean, my year 2 was 10x year 1, and James was a similar.
Yeah.
And that's when really the fruits of your labour really start to be brought in, because it's all about year 2. If you survive year 1, get to year 2, and then you're on your way. And that's the message for it.
Why did you join EXP? Why did you not set up your own estate agency again? You got experience. You did really well. Why not do it again yourself?
Well, it's cost prohibitive, and I like to think that I was talking to someone else about this yesterday. People that work for themselves, they can work day in, day out, and not hope for any returns, and maybe one day hit it big. We're talking like investment people that try to make it big on YouTube or podcast, or put in a lot of hard graft and not really get anywhere. I thought that the same is true with setting up a high street office again, because you can work and everyone gets paid before you. You got to pay your Rightmove, you got to pay your Zoopla, you got to pay your money laundering, you got the tax man, you got to pay everyone, you got premises, you got to work somewhere, you've got to. Everyone gets paid before you. With the EXP setup, you pay a couple £100 a month, all your fixed costs are done. And then if you make a sale, yeah, okay, they take a cut. That's fair enough. But, everyone's got to get paid, right? I think it's a low risk setup, very high reward, because ultimately the money they take is capped at £24,000 a year, which is less than a Rightmove bill. Well, I'll take that any day of the week. So just purely on that, it's a win alone. And then obviously I've got my 2 friends, Jonathan and James, who vouch for the whole system, and they're doing amazingly well. So why could I not do equally well or even better? Give me some time to catch up, and we'll be billing 300,000-400,000 grand a year. Let's do it.
And then you've introduced, is it 3 agents you've introduced to the model as well? How are they getting on?
Well,
how are you helping them?
Yeah, there's 3 that are signed up, and another 2 waiting for the green light sort of thing. It's going well. It's going well. They're loving the system. They're loving being able to break free from costs, because let's have a quick look. 2 of them were running the rest, paying one was paying a Rightmove bill, and the other couldn't afford it. He was just Zoopla. So he's like, well, this is a no-brainer. It just made perfect sense for him.
Actually, it's a very good point where two of the agents who have come on board underneath you, they had existing agencies. So the recent one, Neil, he has an agency where I think he actually reached out to me to help list a Rightmove listing for him because he couldn't actually afford to be on Rightmove. So it goes to show that there's agencies out there who are coming on board underneath you as well for exactly the reasons as you said above.
Yeah, it's just a no-brainer. You get to do everything that you can with your own, ABC properties on the high street. But here you're called, Jeroen Hoppe powered by EXP. What's in the name? Well, people are buying you.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I would much rather have this set up rather than a high street office where, you've got your sales manager and your 5 negotiators and your lettings manager and your 5 lettings negotiators, because ultimately I love doing the job and I want to continue doing the job because it keeps me busy. There's other revenue streams as well, which we can dabble into. But it's not your usual high street office setup. And it's a bit more about this. It works great for me. I love.
What was your monthly outgoing? What was your monthly outgoing branch?
Sorry, what were they for the branch?
Yeah, when you were running your branch, sort of, it was back in 2011, 12, if you can remember. What were you kind of? What was the figure to keep the lights on?
15 grand.
£15,000 per month is before that. So that's before you've even paid yourself anything. That's to keep the lights going. That's to basically tick over. So I think
that's basically
turnover for show, as they say.
Yeah, turnover for show. So we have to do 15 grand a month just to pay the staff, keep the lights on, pay for the cars, all the rest of it. Yeah. So if we had a bad month, that's coming out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Because I can't not pay my staff. I can't not make the car payments. I can't not keep the lights on.
What would you say? What would you say you pay monthly in your marketing budget now, including the EXP? So EXP being 125 plus that for sales only, and then you've got your letters and that kind of thing. What would you say that you pay out monthly? Not including photograph costs and things like that, but like your monthly expenditure.
No, those are variable costs. But my fixed marketing, including EXP, is around about £1,000 a month.
See, that's shown. Yours is higher than most, and obviously that's coming back to you in what you're returning with your properties and valuations that you're getting. Because some people pay a lot less than that, but even so, that's probably because of because of your background, where you've come from. You know the value in marketing and spending on marketing, having a marketing degree and having run a business before. And also maybe having a bit of cash to inject into your business. And now look at it, you're getting calls out for £2 million properties, which is amazing.
Well, this is it. I would rather have one phone call for a £2.6 million property than, no phone calls. And it takes me, I write 1,000 letters a month, and some people call me crazy. Like, what, 1,000 letters? That's 1,000 stamps. I'm like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
I only get 5 phone calls a month out of 1,000. So,
and do
you want me to send less and get one phone call? No, I want as many phone calls as I can possibly get.
Yeah. And when you say that you write the letters, like you found someone off your own back, you pay someone to do that for you, you've got it all systemized, so you're out doing viewings, business development, and then that guy is helping you to write the letters for you each month.
Yeah, correct. So
nice.
I quickly realized that, once you become busy once you've got an instruction, once you've got no instructions, then you've got all the time in the world. You can write those letters all day long. Once you've got one instruction, you can still write your own. Once you get 2, 3, 4, 5 instructions, whoa, that's a different kettle of fish, right? So you quickly need to think, right, what's the least valuable use of my time? My most valuable is obviously talking to vendors and landlords. Secondly, you're talking to applicants and in the houses, viewing them and getting offers. Probably last on the list is actually writing letters. It's important, but the actual task of writing the address on the envelope with a pen, that can be outsourced to anyone who can write English. Well, they don't even need to write English, to be fair. As long as it's legible, it works.
Awesome.
And these, you don't even have to lick these, Jonathan.
No, you can pull them off. Yeah.
But
It's
I
tough.
even looked at before. You can have these basically computers, printing machines that will handwrite and make it look like someone's handwritten it, but it's actually a computer doing it. Because I used to probably spend 10 grand a month on marketing. It was ridiculous the amount of money I'd spent and the amount of letters that we used to send out. But it's all relative. If you spend 10 grand a month and you're making 20 grand a month,
It's
then
worth it.
it's fine. If you're spending 1,000 a month and you're making 500, it's not good. So it's all relative. But in my opinion, your people should, invest as much as, they should probably take a percentage of what they're earning every month, say 10%, for example, and invest it back in marketing, and then just keep doing that and keep growing your business. Jeroen, obviously you've been very successful in the past. This has actually been fascinating. And if I was an agent who'd been working for a few years at Foxtons, the likes of James, Jonathan, and yourself, I'd be really interested to work under you. So how would I get in contact with you if I was interested in knowing more and potentially, you know, getting expertise and you helping them grow their business?
Always love to help. I invite lots of people round to my networking events. So I run a Wings Wednesday now and again. For details, hit me up on Instagram. Instagram is probably the best way forward. So I'm at Down to South London, at Down to South London, all the major portals, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and what have you. And of course, just Google me and my phone number will come up if you prefer a phone call. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, if you're an agent looking to break free from the shackles of corporate KPIs and morning meetings and having to do 15 viewings on a Saturday, otherwise the boss is going to come down on you like a ton of bricks, then feel free to reach out. I'll tell you more about it.
Was there anything else you wanted
We
to
can make
talk
some
about,
arrangements.
or James and Jonathan, was there anything else you wanted to go through today?
No, I thought it was great. Thanks for coming on, Jeroen. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been it's been nice to tell the story, of course, and completely agreed with you about presentation and marketing budgets. I think the mistake that a lot of people make is they start for themselves and then they think, right, here I am, business, and then it's crickets, and you think, well, people don't just do business with you. I had 1,000 square foot office on the high street, and I think I probably had 2 walk-ins in 5 years. Like, just being there does not get you business. So just existing, no one cares. No one cares. You need to offer a solution. And that's why I'm so persistent with all my marketing, my direct mail approach. The fact is that people will only call you if they think that there's something in it for them. So what problem are you solving? Great, you're open for business. I don't care. What's in it for me? So put yourself in a position where you can help someone else and add value to what they're trying to achieve. Oh, you're looking for a buyer? I've got you a buyer. I'm going to get you a buyer. Here's how we're going to do it. And people are receptive to that.
That's brilliant. Right. Thank you very much, guys. That was really good. Some absolute nuggets in there. And Jeroen, I'm definitely going to have to come to one of your Wings Wednesdays. That sounds fun.
They're really good.
See you
Definitely
there.
come.
See you
Cool.
next time.
All right, then, guys. Take care.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot. Have a good